Yes, indeed. It's Ringside Report MMA. Tonight on the show, we preview UFC Sao Paulo and discuss what's next for Francis Ngannou.
Let's go!
What's up? What it is?
Obrigado.
Where are we? How are we? What'd you say, AJ? Poppity bop? Poppity bop.
Obrigado. Tabarnak is coming down my set. There goes Tyson.
Poppity pop. What's up, Fred?
Obrigado, motherfucker.
Pregado. Fred, did you get a haircut in between, like, the...
Thanks.
Yeah,
Oh, you just took your
looked
hat
a little
off.
shake.
I'm like,
Yeah,
something
'cause it
happened
was
to Fred.
kinda
He looks
hot.
different. Your hair looked
Like
different.
I was telling you, like I still feel a little bit under the weather. I feel like some heat waves or something. And I said to myself, I can't be doing the show with this. I'm going to be sweating like a motherfucker. So
Yeah.
took it off.
All right. Well, I'm also
Thanks.
under the
You're at
weather,
that age,
too.
dude.
I've been sick, too. I don't know what's going on.
You too,
But
man?
we're
What the
here.
hell?
We're
Everybody's
here.
got
The
COVID?
show is on. I didn't cancel. I almost canceled, but I didn't because of people like Angelo and people like Leor out in Moncton, the members that support
Moncton!
this very channel. Shout out Leor, shout out Angelo, the guys that support over at join.ringsidereport.net. We do the show for you. Even when we're a little bit sick, we tough it out and we come on to entertain you, give you a good time,
Weren't
and
you
give you
sick
some
last
winning
week, you
picks
guys?
as well. Give you some winning picks.
But you were sick last week, and Freddie, I think, was sick the week before that. What the hell is going on, man? Something at the jiu-jitsu club.
I don't know about that.
You gotta wash down those motherfuckers, man. Let me tell you.
It's like
I think it's the two bombs I have at home. They're full of diseases.
yeah, children, children in schools and
Walking
stuff
petri dishes, man.
doesn't help either. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got something from my kid. But who knows where you get things from, right? Who knows? But on the mend, doing all right, and we're gonna push on through. We've got all the right drugs in us to keep us fueled for the next little bit, right? We always got the right dosage here on the Ringside Report Network, whether we're sick or not, right? You know what I mean? We always got that right dosage, keeping us right in that sweet spot, baby. What are we talking about? Fights? We got fights. We got fights this weekend. The Black Beast, Derrick Lewis. If you were watching during the kind of wait period, the countdown, you saw me talking about the boosted odds over at Bet99. And I think I may have some boosted odds for you this weekend, so you're going to have to stay tuned to that. But I think I got a parlay for you, a 2-fight parlay that I asked the people at Bet99 to boost. And I don't know if they have. Well, I don't think they have yet, but if they do, it'll be up on Saturday morning, so you'll be able to place your wagers then on the Team Dave
Boost it up,
parlay.
man.
Otherwise, you could just place your wager on the Team Dave parlay and cash in either way because things are looking good. I gave you a winner last weekend, plan to give you some winners this weekend. And, of course, last weekend gave you a winner. There was no UFC. I gave you a winner in the boxing match. And, Tyson Fury, very big favorite. So I sweetened the pot. Tyson Fury was a massive favorite, but he was favored to win by knockout. And I said, it's a 10-round fight. Francis Ngannou's never been finished in MMA. I don't think he's going to be finished by Tyson Fury. I think Francis Ngannou goes the distance, loses by decision. And last week, that was plus 500. Plus 500 on Thursday night, by the way. Come fight time, it was like plus 280. So, I don't know if Team Dave started putting money down, but things changed, right? More money was coming down on Fury by decision. That was the smartest play. That was what I gave you last weekend, and that is exactly what happened. And AJ can be mad about the result of the fight, and I know a lot of people are mad about the result of the fight. Some people in MMA media are even taking credit for Francis Ngannou's work, which I find hilarious, which I guess we could talk about too, which is real crazy. That's making news.
What do you mean?
Helwani's going on and on about how you sold everybody. It's
with
like,
the
bro,
Chael
he
Sonnen
lost. I
thing?
don't know what you're talking about. He lost. And the pay-per-views did nothing And Meltzer reported the pay-per-views did less than AEW numbers. Apparently, the pay-per-views for this thing was like 10,000 domestic. It was terrible. Nobody bought this thing.
Real?
Yeah, man. So Helwani's out there
That's
going,
because
oh,
everybody's
Francis
pirating
Ngannou.
it, man.
Helwani's out there on his show. Let's just address it right off the bat because I found it hilarious. He got into this big beef with Chael Sonnen, and I saw Chael yelling at him. I'm like, what's going on? And then I
what's
see
all that
Helwani
about?
going, hey, Francis Ngannou, he made $10 to $20 million in this fight. And Chael's like, 10 to 20? It's like 10 is a good number. Stop at 10, bro. What are you saying? And he's like, oh, pay-per-view, blah, 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 blah. And Chael's like, this thing didn't sell. What are you talking about? And Meltzer's out here reporting, and Meltzer's usually pretty good for these numbers. He comes out and he goes, it sold like 10,000. It did terribly, the Fury and Ngannou fight. So any kind of, this is the thing. Helwani is like real high on this. I think he was involved with the production or whatever. He's like kind of a part of the show, right? So he's involved. He was hyping it. He's all anti-UFC, anti-Dana, super pro Ngannou because Ngannou is the guy kind of sticking it to the UFC, right? So Helwani sees this guy as his guy, I think. I don't know what's going on, but he's going real bananas. I see him on his show, and I'm like, whoa. Take it easy, dude.
He wanted to choke him out or
he's
something.
saying it's between 10 to 20 million, but if it's over 10 million, that's based off the pay-per-view buys and the cut from the pay-per-view, but if the pay-per-view does zero numbers, then your cut from the pay-per-view is nowhere near 20 million, man. It's like, maybe you'll get an extra million. Maybe he made 11 million for the fight. Either way, it's a good number. He made a lot of money, and he showed a lot of people that he was better than people thought he was. But my feeling on the fight, seeing it, having digested it, a few days now removed from it, we did the watch along for the fight, right? Thank you to everybody who joined us for that on Saturday afternoon. I just feel like Francis did what I expected him to do. The only thing I didn't expect was for him to connect and drop Fury. I didn't think he'd drop him. I did not think that he would do that. He did that in the third round. It was very impressive. But Francis did about what I expected him to do. He did a little bit better, connected a little bit more, but really not that much more. Like, the fight basically played out the way I expected it, and I also thought Tyson Fury won by decision. And a lot of people are saying Francis won by decision and this and that, and look, there were some... AJ, what are you talking about? There were a lot of close rounds in that fight. A lot of close rounds in that fight. If you look at the points, Tyson Fury actually outstruck Francis Ngannou. Yeah, AJ scored every close round to Ngannou, and a lot of people scored every close round to Ngannou because you have a certain bias because he's the underdog and you want him to win.
No. Listen, man, from Sean Strickland to Conor McGregor to
all the MMA people, but then all the boxing people are saying Fury won. Lennox Lewis says Fury won. So
Lennox
let me
Lewis,
ask
of course,
you
he was
this,
in his
AJ.
corner.
Let me ask you this.
Two
Who knows
rounds
more about
added for
boxing and the
Ngannou
scoring
above.
system? Lennox Lewis or Sean Strickland? UFC champion Sean Strickland, MMA fighter, very good,
Listen,
or
man, I'm
world
gonna tell
boxing
you.
champion Lennox fucking
Listen,
Lewis?
man,
How about that?
I sent you stats upon stats, man. We had like stats of like
What
tens
stats?
of thousands of people, all kinds
Okay.
of people in their opinion.
Doesn't mean
Let me tell
anything.
you something.
Let Fred
got
get
Yes,
it.
it does. Because wait, hold on a sec. Let me just finish. The bottom line is this: you can think what you want, but the difference is this: is that in my opinion, Francis Ngannou had 2 rounds above Tyson Fury plus the knockdown. But you know how political boxing is. It doesn't surprise me. In fact, I was kind of surprised it didn't go to a draw because you know what? Everybody wants to see that draw, right? Nobody wants to see it, but in this case, most people would have liked to see that
AJ.
draw. The fight will happen again. And I can assure you this, Tyson Fury is going to be a lot more prepared for the next fight. But remember this, Ngannou was his first professional fight. And he dropped Tyson Fury, who was down on his ass, and he wasn't there. He's lucky he stood up. There should have been a few times that Tyson Fury should have been disqualified on a point. But
You
it
mean
didn't
lost
happen.
a point, not disqualified. Lost a point because
lost
of
a
the
point.
elbow?
Sorry. Yes, the elbow was a heavy elbow straight up. That happens. We see that in boxing. Tyson used to do it every once in a while too. But the bottom line is this, is that the majority of the people worldwide, the people who've watched this fight are close to 80%. I know that you're going to say whatever stat you want, Fred, but I'm telling you, as a boxing fan, and not to take away from
AJ.
Ngannou, but yes, go ahead. I think
You're
Ngannou
saying
won.
a lot of nothing right now. You're just trying to muster
I'm not saying a lot of
your
nothing.
point.
I'm not saying a lot
But
of nothing. I'm saying what is the
I'm gonna
fact
put
is
you.
that
I'm gonna
Not
put you
much
should have
facts
won
there.
it.
on the spot, man. Give me the rounds you gave to Ngannou. What rounds
Well,
did
I'm going to tell you.
Ngannou win?
I'm going to
'Cause
tell you this.
he
It's a
definitely
simple.
won.
I'm going to 96,
He
93,
definitely
man. Come on,
No,
come
that's
on.
just
From
a
one of the
score, man. Anybody could give a
that
score,
that's
man. What
yeah,
round
but
did you
that
give
score is
Ngannou?
totally wrong. That already shows you that there's
I
some
got
questions with
questions.
the judging.
Did you give him round 9 when he only connected 2 punches? Did you give him round 10 when he only connected 4 punches?
Yeah, I gave
Come
him round
on,
10.
man.
I gave him round 10.
He
You shouldn't
connected
have.
4 punches in the whole round.
Yeah.
What did Fury do on that too? So let's be honest. That's the difference. So you could talk about the punches, but listen, Fury was like striding with his feet like he had weights on them. There at least Ngannou looked fresh. And Dave, you can go back on our tapes and you can admit it yourself, because if not, I'll bring back the tapes. You admitted yourself going into 8th, 9th, 10th round, Ngannou looked like he had a second wind.
He did.
He was fresher of the fighters.
But
you know
still,
what?
that didn't. But
But-
AJ, that's not the point. It doesn't, like, just because you're moving better doesn't mean you're landing more punches. And I still believe
Absolutely.
in a lot of those rounds, Tyson Fury outlanded Francis Ngannou. And that's really the bottom line of this fight, is who lands more punches per round. If you could, if your opponent scores 4 times and you score 5, you've won that round. And that's how boxing works. And if you win more rounds, you win the fight, you win on points. And look, the fight was close. It was like a 10-round fight, and people were scoring it, 6-4, 5, whatever. It was super close between Ngannou and Fury. The scores were very close, and the fight was close. People thought Ngannou won because Ngannou did way better than people expected. People thought Ngannou won because he gave Tyson Fury a very difficult challenge.
Look.
I expected Francis to do that. I expected him to go in and do well. He is a hard puncher. He is in great shape. This is the fight that his whole life was building towards. And Tyson Fury was not really looking at this fight. This was a tune-up fight. This was a preparation for Usyk, which was the real boxing match, which was the real test for him, which was the real challenge. I think Tyson Fury overlooked Francis Ngannou, and I felt like he was overlooking him going into this fight, and that's why I didn't think Tyson Fury was going to be able to finish Francis Ngannou, and he was going to be able to get the decision, and I'm pretty sure that's what he did. If you bet on Tyson Fury by decision, you would have won, which is what we did
95
and why we won.
Makes a lot of sense. Whatever judge had it 95-94 makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
And look, it was a close fight. So if Ngannou would have won a split decision or even a majority decision, whatever,
Yeah.
I would have no problem with it. What I have a problem is people saying he got robbed, because that's just not true. The fight was close. It could have went either way, So when you're calling he got robbed, it's because your guy lost. That's the main reason.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm going to say one thing. I didn't expect, the judges to go anywhere but in favor of Tyson Fury, regardless. But the bottom line is this. Out of that whole fight, even though Tyson Fury won, according to the judges, and 2 of you guys on this panel, I think a 96-93 is a complete joke, and it just goes to show you how, far off
That's
the
fair.
judging goes. But listen to this.
Did
The
you
bottom
ever?
line is,
Let me ask you this, though, AJ. Hang on.
But let me finish. The highlight out of all this fight is always going to be, until they fight again, is Ngannou knocking Tyson Fury down on his ass. That's the picture that's been circulated all around the world, and that's what stands out the most. And that's what's going to be the reason they fight again.
If it was an MMA fight, Ngannou would have won there. I have no problem saying Ngannou's the baddest man on the planet, because on that knockdown, if it continues, he's gonna knock him out probably. But I'm gonna go back to your 96-93. 96-93 means there's 3 rounds for Ngannou. I gave clearly round 3 where he knocked him down, and round 8 to Ngannou. But other than that, all the other rounds that you're giving Ngannou, it's questionable, man. They're toss-ups, man.
A lot of toss-up rounds, man.
And yes,
this is what people don't want to admit.
So, of course, the judges are going to favor the boxer. I'll admit that, but it's not a robbery.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't think it was a robbery. I think it was a close fight that could have gone either way. When we went to the scorecards, I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I felt like Fury won, but you really never know in boxing. You really never know. And a lot of people felt Ngannou won, and that's cool. And I think it was a win for Ngannou in the sense that he proved a lot of people wrong. I'm very happy for Francis Ngannou. I wanted Ngannou to knock out Tyson Fury in that third round. I wanted him to finish him. I wanted him to show all of boxing, hey, MMA is here and they can strike. And, you know, MMA guys are just as good, if not better, than boxers, so don't sleep on MMA. A lot of boxing people are kind of like, you know, they thumb their nose at MMA and they say MMA fighters can't strike and this and that. What Francis Ngannou did was show, hey, you can't say that about MMA fighters anymore. You can't. You can't. Francis Ngannou showed everybody that he's up there. He's one of the best boxers in the world and one of the best MMA heavyweights in the world. Francis Ngannou, you know, he showed everybody. So I've got a lot of love for what Francis did. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from Francis. I just don't think that he got robbed of the fight. Like, he feels he got robbed, and that's fine. Style. He was in the fight, and that's cool. I wish he would have won. It would have been great if he would have won. It would have been an even better story for him. You know, unfortunately, it didn't go that way for him. And I don't know what's next. Now, you know, I don't know what's next.
He needs to focus MMA.
Yeah.
He needs to focus MMA because there's no rematch right now. Fury has a contract with Usyk that he owes him a fight. And now they delayed that fight because, you know, this was a tough fight for Fury. And there's no way he would have been able to fight on the 23rd or 24th of December. So now they're talking probably February or even maybe a little later. So that's the number one reason why the rematch is not coming right now. And the second one is those pay-per-view numbers. If those pay-per-view numbers are real, like, I'm sorry,
I find that a bit hard to digest, man.
I mean,
you know, I'm saying, look, like,
they're
you
in
got
the business of making money.
Yeah.
But, like, what are those numbers based on? On the international sales, which I find a little bit.
I think that was the domestic sales, like 10,000
in the U.S.
In the
domestic,
U.S.
Okay, that makes sense, man, because
the
fight was at a weird time.
Francis Ngannou, right? It was at a weird time, and Francis Ngannou is not a megastar. He is not. He was never He was never a big draw for the UFC. He didn't sell a ton of pay-per-views for the UFC.
True.
He's not, you know, a Conor McGregor or a Ronda Rousey or a Brock Lesnar. You know, I think the fight was a big deal for hardcore fight fans who know who he is and know what he represents. But as far as being a draw for the mainstream, he just isn't that guy. He's cool for us, the guys who know, yeah. But for everybody else, people don't know Francis Ngannou. People don't care.
Dave,
I'll give you that.
I'm gonna go a little bit against you on here. I'm gonna say it was a big deal for MMA people mostly because MMA people wanted to see how Ngannou did. Remember when you talked about like Brock Lesnar fighting in the UFC? Well, that's a big deal for wrestling fans. But after that, there's not really carryover. You know, the wrestling fans that bought the Brock Lesnar pay-per-view, they're not buying the next UFC pay-per-view. In the same way that MMA fans wanted to see Ngannou fight Fury, well, they're not watching boxing after that. They were intrigued by Ngannou. I don't think
that also
there's
shows
any carryover. Yeah. And I think both guys are going back to their sport, and that's what it should be.
And that's an interesting point. You know, it shows the draw of Brock Lesnar. I mean, he sold millions of pay-per-views for the UFC, and Francis Ngannou wasn't that type of draw with the Tyson Fury fight. I guess it shows you the audience for pro wrestling, too, across the world. It's a huge, very dedicated audience. Care.
Like, I don't have numbers in front of me, but I bet that every Tyson Fury fight did way better than that in the U.S. Like, all his past fights must have done better pay-per-views than that. So, to me, I think boxing fight fans snubbed it and, you know, didn't want to spend money on this.
Well, the thing is, like I said, Fred, it was really the time zone difference, like, you know, and whatnot. But Dave is right about Ngannou not having that power like a Brock Lesnar or a Conor McGregor and all that kind of stuff. He's absolutely right. But now it's a different story. People around the world and in the boxing world know who Ngannou is, and they know that he knocked out Tyson Fury. Wait, Dave, that picture is all over that's all over the world. Knocked down on his ass, and Tyson. did I say knocked out? Well, he looked a little knocked out. If it was MMA, it would have been knockout for sure. But the thing is this. He got knocked down on his ass, but it was enough of a statement for people to open up their eyes and say, listen, holy shit. And I can assure you this, if they fight again, which will happen at some point next year, the numbers will be completely different. They'll fight again. They'll fight again next year.
You've been predicting McGregor and Mayweather rematch for years too, AJ. You make a lot of predictions about things that don't seem to be in the cards.
But this is different, man. He put him down, and Ngannou is really on the heat. With the judges' decisions, with the scorecard. It all makes sense, and everybody wants to see it. I would like to see it again. You know what I mean? And I'm sure Tyson Fury. But this is the difference. If you have this fight again, it can't take place in some I love, Saudi Arabia was amazing, man. That whole setup was incredible. But if you want to have that boxing feel, you take these two guys and you put them in Madison Square Garden, and then you'll start seeing those pay-per-view numbers fly through the roof. That's what's going to happen.
I don't think so.
Next year,
I don't think so. Yeah. Let me ask you something. So. If you're a promoter, okay, you see this fight that did 10,000 pay-per-views. You're going to spend the money? You're going to spend the money to put it in Madison Square Garden? You're going to make that investment? The only people that are going to put that fight together are the Saudis, because they don't need it to make money because they got trillions of dollars and they own the country, right? This fight's not happening in Madison Square Garden, bro. Keep dreaming. It's not happening because no promoter in their right mind is going to spend that kind of money to put on a fight that did 10,000 on pay-per-view. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but
next,
Dave,
nope, it's not happening, dude. You better hope. Francis Ngannou better hope he gets a fight like that next time around. He better hope he gets that rematch, because I don't know what else in the PFL is really going to draw and make any kind of difference in anybody's life. He's not fighting in the PFL against anybody that's going to sell anything. No one will care. I saw Helwani go, he made $20 million this fight. What's he going to make next time? 30, 40? I'm like, what? What fight? What fight could he possibly take where he'd make $30 million? Who the hell could he fight? And people are like, UFC needs to make the John Jones fight now. They need to make Francis and John Jones. Why wouldn't they co-promote? What do you mean, why? Because Francis walked away from their company, and you would risk your John Jones and let Francis have that opponent and have that payday for what? The good of the sport? It's a business. They're a publicly traded company, the TKO group. What the hell are people thinking? Make the fight now. It makes sense. Well, for fight fans, it makes sense. Business-wise, UFC has all the opponents that could make Francis Ngannou money. Any big fight that Francis Ngannou could possibly have in MMA is in the UFC. And the UFC is supposed to just do that and give it to Francis? Because why? Because he doesn't fight for them anymore? How does that make any kind of sense? Ridiculous. I saw some respectable journalists, not Ariel Helwani, I'm talking about actual respected journalists, and they were calling for this fight, and I was like, dude, why would the UFC do that? Fight fans never think about what's best for the UFC and their business. They're always like, well, screw the UFC's business. They make so much money. It's like, yeah, no shit. You know why they make money? Because they do things that's in their best interests. They don't do things to help other companies or other fighters that aren't under their umbrella. Why the fuck would they do that? It's fucking stupid. God damn. People in MMA sometimes, they fucking dream about these things, and I go, guys, it's ludicrous to even think that the UFC would want to do this. It's a publicly traded company. Their stockholders would go apeshit. They couldn't do a co-promotion with PFL. It wouldn't be a good move. Francis Ngannou, they could starve the PFL. They could starve Francis Ngannou on the outside with no opponents. The best shot he's got right now is getting Deontay Wilder to come in and do that MMA thing they're talking about. Deontay Wilder's talking about MMA or maybe boxing Ngannou. They're talking about Deontay Wilder, and they're trying to get that fight together. That is the best case scenario for Ngannou.
Joshua said he's not interested, so maybe Wilder. I didn't read much about that.
Yeah, Wilder said he wants to.
I'm gonna go for a second on Fury. If anything, I'm gonna criticize his strategy, because I didn't like. He tried to get on Ngannou, always clinch him and put his weight on him, and that worked against Wilder. But I don't think that was a good strategy against a guy like Ngannou, who's used to the clinch and those positions. So, if anything, man, next fight, man, I hope, like, if they ever make it back, I hope Fury comes in better shape and has a better game plan. And I think he would win. Like, he would be the favorite again, and I would expect him to win. But for right now, man, let's find Ngannou an interesting fight in PFL, which is going to be hard. Who knows? Maybe with the Bellator that supposedly they're buying, maybe something could be done there. But even Bellator doesn't have much heavyweights. You know?
What do? Ryan Bader and Francis Ngannou? You going to pay for that on pay-per-view? Check right. Like, there's nothing. That's what I'm saying. Outside the UFC, the heavyweight division, like inside the UFC, the heavyweight division is not that strong. Outside, forget about it. I want to address a couple comments here by 15%. First, he said Fred's parlay hit so many weeks in a row they had to skip a week. Yeah, the UFC had to go like, yo, time out. Fred's killing us. And then he says Jones waited years for Ngannou to leave, then promptly enter the heavyweight division. Now, this is a fucking narrative that I cannot stand. Oh, John Jones was scared of Ngannou. He waited for him to leave. He didn't wait for him to leave. He waited until the right moment and the right fight presented itself for him to come into the heavyweight division. He wasn't ready to be a heavyweight. He wasn't at his optimal self to be a heavyweight. The notion that John Jones is afraid of any human walking this earth is absurd to me. You think John Jones is scared of Francis Ngannou? You think John Jones is scared of anybody? He's John Jones. Did you see what he did to Cyril Gane? Come on now. Come on. I don't like that at all. Doesn't make any sense to me. Anybody that thinks John Jones is scared of a man, you got to remember who John Jones is. Look at the body of work. Look what he's still able to do. He's not scared of anybody. He didn't duck fucking Francis Ngannou, okay? If he ever fought Francis Ngannou, it would be a duck, under, take, down, choke, quick, done. He's not going to get a chance to use his boxing. Man. Get out of here.
Well, listen, man, I want to see that. I don't think it's going to be.
Do you remember when they had the face-to-face? Oh, I'm ready for you, John. I'm ready. Yeah? You're going to have to learn how to wrestle, and it's going to take more than a year. You're going to learn how to do jiu-jitsu. You're going to have to learn how to wrestle. It's going to take more than a year. I'm waiting for you, Francis, anytime. Like, John Jones, he's not flinching. And Francis in that moment was like, shit. He knew. He knew in that moment. I knew in that moment. John Jones has his number. I think that fight is easy peasy for John Jones.
Also, Ngannou had two heavyweight fights. You know, he won the title against Stipe, and two title fights. He won the title against Stipe and defended against Cyril. Mm-hmm. And both of those fights were done in a time where John Jones was completely inactive. It's not as if John Jones was fighting light heavyweights while Francis Ngannou was fighting heavyweights. John Jones was going through his own personal shit because I think that's about the time where he had his issues with his wife in Vegas and things like that.
There was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, exactly. He was just inactive. John Jones didn't fight. Like, he fought Reyes February 2020 and then fought Cyril Gane March 2023. So he spent 3 years out of the sport, and I don't think it had anything to do by ducking anybody. I just think he had some personal issues to deal with, and once he got back, Ngannou wasn't there no more. So
yeah, he would have fought Francis Ngannou. He would have fought him. That would have been the fight instead of Cyril Gane. If Francis Ngannou was around, it would have been Jones and Ngannou. He was ready for it.
And then Ngannou could have signed that contract with the UFC. And I'm not blaming him. Props to him if he's making more money now. But the whole thing of John Jones being scared of Ngannou, I disagree also. John Jones is not scared of nobody. And also, just, like, think about it. It's John Jones. It's the guy that looked at Daniel Cormier and said, like, hey, pussy. Like, John Jones ain't scared of nobody, man. He likes it, man. He likes the confrontation.
Yeah. He's not scared of anybody. He is the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. 15% says he lost the Reyes fight. He did not. He was scared of Yuri coming on. I don't think John was even looking at Yuri. Yuri was not even on the radar at that point. He went inactive and waited for Ngannou to leave. Perfect timing. That is not at all what happened. That is a gross mischaracterization of the sequence of events. That's just wrong.
No.
I'm sorry,
12,
15%.
He's right.
You seem like a nice guy, but you're 100% wrong. And the fact that
No,
AJ
no.
agrees with you is just further proof of that.
Listen, man, not at all, man. And I said that from that fight when that fight was going on and when it ended, and most people said that Jones lost that fight. You can take it for what it is. Yes, Jones has it, but everybody recognized that Jones should have lost that fight. 12-15 is absolutely right. I said that from way back, and I'm not.
No, not everybody. Only the John Jones hater crew that you're the captain of.
Listen, I give it to John Jones when he wins fairly and squarely without picograms. Yes, and listen, I got to give John Jones credit for being Cyril Gane, and he is like the baddest man on the planet. But the Reyes fight was, questionable.
So a couple of months after, 2 months after fighting Reyes, that's when he got arrested for shooting his gun from his Jeep. And then in 2021, that's when he had his legal problems again with his wife in Vegas, where he got violent, unfortunately, with her. So, those were times where John Jones, unfortunately, just didn't have his fighting career as his number one priority.
Yep. Had nothing to do with who was in the UFC at the time. No?
Yeah, I'll give you the timing thing. I think Jones would have fought Ngannou if Ngannou was still like.
And how disrespectful to everybody that he's fought. He's scared of Yuri Prohaska, but not scared of Lyoto Machida. He's scared of Francis Ngannou, but wasn't scared of TRT Vitor, who he fought and tapped. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
But
if he's not scared of these, Vitor was on all the drugs. He was looking roidy. He was crushing people. John Jones is the only guy to beat TRT Vitor. Beat him down. Tapped him.
And you're the guy that said that Cyril Gane, would beat Ngannou and all that. And John Jones wasn't scared of Cyril Gane at all. Why would he be scared of Ngannou? Who has,
doesn't make sense.
I would say, a similar skill set, good, strong striker. Cyril, if anything, moves better. Ngannou has more power, but none of the two have wrestling. So John Jones' strategy would probably have been the same exact thing against Ngannou that it was against Cyril Gane.
Mm-hmm. Yet, Ngannou's wrestling is not up to par to mess with John Jones. I just don't think it is, man. I've seen him wrestle. It's, John Jones is slick. John Jones has been training with Gordon Ryan, too. Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Is he a purple belt now in jiu-jitsu? I think he's purple or brown, one of the two.
I mean, he's
but listen, good. You're grappling with Gordon Ryan, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're at a level that is like...
Imagine what those rolls look like. Like, I would love to watch that all day.
I saw one roll, man. It was pretty cool, man.
A full roll? John Jones, Gordon Ryan? I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man.
Did Gordon tap him?
Like, it was just rolling. They didn't put it to an end stop. It was just like it was pretty. Look, Jones.
I want to see like a real roll where they're both going for it. Like I want to see them really
like a
grapple.
Real match, like
I wonder
3 minutes
because Gordon is incredible, but John Jones is John Jones.
I think Jones would be able. I think Gordon Ryan would be able to mess him up with all the leg locks.
Probably.
And that's where because Jones is like, look. He doesn't have.
John Jones would have knocked out Tyson Fury. Let's be fair. John Jones would have knocked him out clean, easy peasy. John Jones could do anything that Francis Ngannou can't do. Anything Francis Ngannou falls slightly short at, John Jones would do it and then some. He would tap out Gordon Ryan and knock out Tyson Fury. That's how good John Jones is.
John Jones gonna win the decathlon at the next Olympics.
He could if he wanted to.
He'll win every single event of that decathlon.
And he'll win at the Kentucky Derby, too. But I doubt it, man.
As a jockey.
He still lost the race.
As a jockey, imagine that. Biggest jockey ever.
I want to see John Jones as a jockey.
It'd be great. It'd be hilarious. He's
the
like bigger
horse
than
will
the
be
horse.
Like, what? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Is this John Jones? Pico grab time.
But see how great John Jones is? We start talking about Francis Ngannou. We wind up talking about John Jones. What a guy. What a legend.
Listen, man, lots of respect to Ngannou, man. Bottom line is that he fought. Jones didn't.
Good for him. Good for him. He made money, man. I'm happy for Francis. Good for him.
Man. Everybody should
be happy. Anything, like, his reputation went up from this because everybody agrees he did way better than expected. He knocked him down. He knocked down Fury, like you said. So I'm very happy for Ngannou. I'm just not convinced that translates into financial success for the PFL and all that. Like, I hope it does. Like, I wish Ngannou the best.
But David's right. There's no big name like in the PFL to make you want to like fly and buy that pay-per-view. It can't be a pay-per-view event. That's the thing. You know, it's unless Brock Lesnar decides to come into the PFL, and then that'll be a different story.
No chance in hell.
He's still contracted on the UFC, if I'm not mistaken, because
Yeah,
he's still
so.
He's still an active fighter in the UFC.
Well,
you know, well he's on there, so if
not
he's still
active,
on the list,
but still probably
but
under
he's
contract.
still on the list. Yeah. But the thing is, like you said, you know, something can happen at UFC 300 where, you know, something crazy like Brock Lesnar coming in, I can see happening. But that's when you'd want to see a Ngannou going up against a Brock Lesnar, you know?
Yeah, but
a John Jones going up against a Brock Lesnar.
But Ngannou's under contract to PFL. So whatever he does MMA-wise is going to be in the PFL. And the problem is with the PFL, they have limited options for who to place in front of Francis Ngannou. And I think the worst problem for the PFL is not that they have limited options, is that they have guys that are unknown that could probably beat Francis. Under the right circumstances, they got some good heavyweights. Like these guys aren't a joke. You know what I mean? Some of these guys might be able to beat Francis. And then where are you? You got this huge investment, you get all this hype, and then a guy gets, you know, taken down and rear naked choked or something in the second round. Like, you know.
It could happen, you're right.
The problem is with the PFL is that they don't have any names. They don't have names that they could sell a fight with Francis. That's the big... It's not they don't have talent. They've got talented fighters. They just don't have anybody with a name, which is rough. Like, I mean, their heavyweight champion is Ante D'Elia. I think Ngannou could probably beat him.
PFL, they're on ESPN?
Yeah.
Like, I know they won't do it, but maybe they should put Ngannou on an ESPN card. Try to build him up, find him an easy matchup where he knocks him out, and then maybe try to do a pay-per-view from there. Like, market him, man. Use your big platform on ESPN to try to get some views on him.
Maybe. I think they're going to try pay-per-view. Their next show is a pay-per-view, right? Their next, they got the big PFL finals coming up. PFL 10, the pay-per-view.
Soon.
Yeah, it's really soon, right? When is that?
With Olivier.
Yeah, Olivier's, well, everybody has their final, right, on that night? Is it 10? I think it's 10. Yeah, November 24th. Olivier's in the main event against Clay Collard for the lightweight title. You got the heavyweight title in the co-main event. Hernan Ferreira against Denis Goltslov. Like, I don't know who these guys are, and PFL doesn't even think enough about them to put them in the main event. But these guys are potential opponents for Francis Ngannou, who is the biggest star the PFL has under contract, which is a bit of an issue. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, if your potential opponents for Francis aren't even main eventers, goddamn, pal, they're probably tough. Maybe they're undefeated. I don't know about these guys at all. But, like...
It's not good.
It's not good. It's not good for Francis either, because, like...
Yeah.
What if you lose? Then... You know, every fight is tough. You know, nothing's easy, and these guys are going to be hungry.
Then you're in Schitt's Creek, man.
Yeah.
That's the problem. If Francis loses, that's Schitt's Creek for them. PFL is going to be, like, in a bad position where it can actually maybe even bankroll or bankrupt the company. I mean, you know, you're in a position where you have a big star, but you need a big opponent, man. You know, it's going to be tough, and you got to build someone up to be able to sell those pay-per-view points. Unless you get a big name from the UFC that decides to come over, you know, like a John Jones, you know, if he retires and whatnot. It probably won't happen.
No.
I don't think so.
It's not happening. Well, Francis Ngannou, you know, he made his mark on the boxing world. I think he's going to be ranked as a boxer. Maybe he doesn't do PFL next. Maybe he goes and does a boxing match. Maybe he fights Deontay Wilder next. You know, I think that's probably the best case scenario for a guy like Ngannou, is to take another boxing match and try to cash in, because you know, you're going to make so much in the PFL, but I think you could probably make a little bit more in the boxing ring.
His name is hotter. His name is hotter in boxing right now than it is in MMA, right?
It might be.
So you got to go. It is, no doubt about it. And that's why you keep riding that train. I think there's a lot of opponents that he can have. Ngannou in boxing.
Nobody wants to fight him. Like the big names, anyways. Like Anthony
Wilder
Joshua
might.
said no.
Wilder might.
Wilder maybe. Yeah, if you could do the Wilder, but that's the only option basically because you don't put him against no name.
No. But Wilder would be a fun fight. Who knows? And maybe Tyson Fury bails on that Usyk fight and Ngannou takes it.
Man, Usyk didn't look too confident.
He would bring him into court if that happens.
You think?
Like he probably. Well, that's what Usyk said.
Oh, he's gonna sue him if he doesn't get the fight.
Yeah, because he has a contract.
Boxing is so weird. Boxing is so weird.
Look, man, Usyk,
then that's millions of dollars, man. I completely understand Usyk's position.
Mm-hmm.
You committed to that fight.
He wants to do it. But it was funny to watch Usyk's face like throughout the rounds, right, Dave? We were like looking at him, and he went like super confident. At one point, he's like, "Oh fuck!" Like, I gotta fight.
He's like, I'm losing this Tyson Fury fight as these rounds go on. This is not good for me. Francis Ngannou's doing too well. Tyson was supposed to finish this guy early. What's happening? So Francis Ngannou made his mark on boxing. Another man who, of course, made his mark on boxing, guys, Muhammad Ali. Ooh. You all love Muhammad Ali, right? Let me show you something. Look at this.
No.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Now, you can get this right now. This is from our friends over at Foco. Shout out to Foco. They sent me this beautiful Muhammad Ali bobblehead that they're going to be putting into production. Only 360 of these are going to be made, so it's a super limited edition bobblehead. Only 360 of these are made for the Thrilla in Manila Ali bobblehead. Look at that thing. Look at the detail on the champ's face.
Nice, man. I want one.
Man, it's so beautiful. I want
Cassius
one too.
Clay.
I might actually get one.
Thrilla in Manila.
So go check this out.
Man.
It's at foco.com. I'm going to be putting a link out on the Ringside Report Twitter. And Foco, FOCO.com. FOCO.com. Go check out their stuff. They have beautiful collectibles. And this Muhammad Ali bobblehead is a must for any fight fan. Just beautiful. If you're a collector like me, if you're a fight fan like me, look at the detail on this Ali bobblehead. Just beautiful. Look at that.
Look at those eyes.
Looks like the champ. Look at the hair. Look at the hair on this thing.
Beautiful, handsome face, man.
Amazing.
Muhammad
this
Ali,
is really
man,
nice work here. And a super limited edition, only 106 Canadian right now. You could pre-order it right now, and you want to do it now because, like I said, they're only making 360 of these. So if you want one, it is a super limited edition Muhammad Ali bobblehead. From October 1st, 1975, the Thrilla in Manila. Classic Ali bobblehead here that you can get right now at Foco, FOCO.com. Shout out to the good people at Foco for making these beautiful collectibles. Awesome
if the Foco guys are listening, man, what they need is a Howard Cosell bobblehead and to put it right next to Ali for the Thrilla in Manila. This is Howard Cosell.
They might be on that already. They've got a lot of cool stuff at Foco. I was checking out the New York. They got some really nice New York Yankees bobbleheads, let me tell you. They've got some beautiful Yankees stuff.
But that's a nice one.
Mm-hmm.
Here he is.
Oh, the Ali is really nice. So go check it out at Foco.com. Shout out to the people at Foco for sending that our way. And we got some fights to preview here, guys. This weekend, the UFC is back. Jailton Almeida in Sao Paulo, Brazil, taking on Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis, fresh off an arrest, I think. What happened? He got caught.
What?
Yeah, driving very quick, man. I think 130 in a 55 zone miles an hour.
That is very fast.
It's a little fast there, man. Maybe
like
he
200
misread
kilometers.
Yeah, maybe he thought he saw one before everything.
So he was arrested a couple weeks ago for driving very, very fast in a Lamborghini, which if you own a Lamborghini...
Oh, you got to go fast.
I think sometimes that's just kind of what you do.
I mean, not in Montreal here, that's for sure. With the potholes, forget it. It'd be like a goodbye car, man.
Oh,
you need to drive a Lamborghini somewhere in like the Autobahn in Germany
is the most tired, boring thing that I'm just so sick of? People in this stupid city in Montreal going, oh, potholes. orange cones. It's like, shut up. All right, like, fuck off. Like, I get it. There are some orange cones and potholes in places, but like, really, is it like a big thing? Is it
There's still people missing in some of these potholes.
We got one of the worst roads in Canada, man.
Man, I had a guy coming from a third world. Fred, I had a guy who came from a third world country, and he says, "Man, our roads are better there than they are here. There's potholes the size of elephants here, man."
Everybody just talking about it all the time. It's just so lame, you know?
Well,
yeah, but there's nothing else to talk about.
Awful.
It's just basic, you know?
You don't drive much, Dave. When you drive a car and you gotta, exactly, and then you gotta replace a ball joint or whatever, realign your
wheels. You remember my car that went on fire?
Oh, I just paid for my car to replace a link kit or something today.
What?
I paid for it was a serious garage bill that we had to take care of today.
Damn.
All right. Well, if a pothole would have done that, you would be mad.
Part of it was the winter tire change. I got my winter tires done too, so oil change, winter tires. You know, got to get that done, baby. You got your tires on yet?
But the potholes is what pisses you off the most because it's something that you could avoid, right? You're driving all nice, listening to your Vanilla Ice, bada bing, bada bam, singing like I was doing, and boom, pothole.
There's nothing more frustrating
the whole car is
than
on
hitting
fire.
a pothole. Like you don't see it coming and you go pow. And you're like,
roads are bad everywhere. I'm getting a thing from our producer saying that the roads in New Jersey were awful too when he was in New Jersey. So the roads are bad
but it can't
everywhere.
Be worse than Montreal.
People just go on and on about Montreal and orange cones and like all these little jokes about orange cones. I'm just like, fucking nerd.
Dude,
like,
they give them out as like at the tourist like shops, like it's part of like Montreal. You have a cone with Montreal on it.
It's lame.
Listen, if you're
I think
that's
lame.
Here, why, man? You come to Montreal, you stay at a nice hotel, you got to leave your car behind. Because if you try to drive anywhere in the city, it's going to take you hours to get around. It's ridiculous, Dave.
It's not really true.
I'm frustrated. No, it's true, but it's true. It's true, but you drive downtown Montreal.
Well, why would I go downtown? I mean, obviously, it's not easy to drive downtown. It's never been easy to drive downtown. Is it supposed to be? Like, it's never been easy. It's a downtown.
Well, all the orange cones makes it worse.
Listen, man, I'm going to tell you something. You ever watch The Sopranos?
You don't drive
enough. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
when there were certain people in control here in Montreal, Soprano style, the roads were perfect. Crime rate was down. Everything was clean. I'm just saying.
Sure, there's no more organized crime in Montreal. You're right about that.
That's the problem.
What?
Yeah, and
that's why we got like.
I'm not sure that's true, AJ.
I think AJ's making things up again to make his buddies look good.
I think organized crime probably still is in construction and.
What are you talking about, AJ?
Making sure that everything costs a lot of money.
All right, AJ's just spreading more lies on the show.
Not at all. The last 10 years have been the worst, man. It's kind of like the U.S. with the presidency. Just saying.
Talking about The Sopranos, I've been rewatching it. And now I'm in season 4. And Adriana just got arrested. And I'm like, come on, man. She's dumb, man. Like they don't have much against her, man. Why?
Coke. They had Coke.
Yeah, Coke. But I mean, come on, man. You could beat that, man.
She was selling Coke in the club. She got scared.
She shouldn't get scared, man.
She also,
won't end up with her.
But she was also scared because she brought an FBI agent into Tony Soprano's home. You know, that FBI agent went undercover, became her friend, and then, she brought her to Tony's house. Like, Adriana was scared. She thought Tony was going to kill her. So she had to cooperate. And then Tony found out and had her killed.
It's even worse.
I mean,
she made it worse.
Yeah, no, she did make it worse. She should have gone to Tony right away and said, look, this is what's happening. And then they're not going to, lawyer, and then you deal with it. You know, you either do the time or not, but she should have not cooperated with the FBI because ultimately it is what led to her demise.
Don't eat the prosciutto.
Poor Adriana. Chrissy shouldn't have sat on little Cosette, though. That was fucked up.
Yeah, I'm in season 4, so yeah.
I understand what it's like to lose a pet. Oh, God. That intervention is the best. They're all just beating on him. I don't know why Benny jumps in. At that intervention, they're all beating on him. Benny jumps in. He starts beating on Christopher. Why is he laying the boots to Chrissy? He's like his buddy. I guess he's just joining in. When Paulie starts beating on Christopher, you're like, I guess I got to do it too. But I never understood why Benny joined in on that beating. Didn't seem like
'Cause you
appropriate
got to.
for him. What?
You got no choice. He had to, man.
You don't even
Like,
know who
you
I'm
can't
talking
go,
about.
like-
You don't know who Benny is. Who's Benny?
My Uncle Benny.
No,
My
no.
Uncle Benny.
On The Sopranos, who's Benny? You don't
Benny
know Benny.
is Dr. Doogie Howser's friend.
Huh?
No?
Doogie
That's not Benny?
I don't know the Doogie Howser reference. Benny is, Benny from Sopranos.
He's the young. Yeah, he's young. Well, not that young, but yeah, I know he is. Benny
You know?
Sopranos. Let me Google it. And I think that's the guy that played in Doogie Howser.
I like when he gets into that whole beef with Artie. Artie beats him up outside of his house.
Exactly. That's exactly
Benny.
who I thought.
Yeah.
Paulie's
Artie's
the best.
funny because the episode I watched today, they're doing the Christopher Columbus,
Yeah.
protest, and Artie's all like, yeah, and then he gets hit behind the head, and he just goes into the car,
Yeah, he's
locks
scared.
the doors.
No, you can't beat the scene with
That's
Paulie
the best.
with the
That's the best when they're in the car and Tony's getting mad at Silvio and he's like, you own one of the best. You own the most successful topless bar in North Jersey. You got a wife who's a piece of ass. At least she was when you met her. And it's like, what? Just throw that in there. You think you get all that because you're Calabres, or you get it because or because because you're smart. Tremendous. What a fucking speech.
Furio today made me learn that supposedly Northern Italians and Southern Italians, they got beef.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Where
I hate
are
the
you
North.
from, AJ?
I hated the North.
What did he say? I want to know what he said.
He doesn't like the North. They look down at the South.
Looks down on the South. They're like, they feel they're better
What
than the
part
South.
of the South is he from?
Probably.
No.
You say Napoli?
What's his
or
name?
Yeah,
something
Napoli.
Like that?
Napoli.
That's where my mom's from. Okay. We're paisanos. We're okay. Me and Flavio or Florio. What was his name?
Have
again?
you seen The Sopranos? You're asking me
Listen,
if I've seen
man.
The Sopranos.
Listen, I'm
I can
gonna tell
quote
you
everything
something.
from the show. You don't know who Furio is? Furio
Two
Junta?
episodes.
Of course I know Furio. But I'm going to
Furio.
tell you something. I refuse to watch The Sopranos. I said this, I think, 1,000
Yeah,
times
I know,
on this
but
show.
then you claim
I
to be an
refuse to
expert,
watch-
but you really don't know shit.
But I'm not an expert. I've been watching. I just started watching The Sopranos not too long ago, and I'm rewatching all the series again.
5 years ago.
Listen, man, The Sopranos already ended before I started. Actually, I think it was the last season or the last shows of the season that I
It
started
ended
watching,
like
and I'm like,
50 years ago,
Oh
I
my
know,
God.
dude. But
I remember when it
refuse
was
to
still
watch
on.
it.
I would watch it twice. I
refuse to
had
watch
HBO. I would watch it
I didn't know
twice.
it was that good.
I would watch it when it aired at like 9, and then I would watch it on the HBO like Pacific feed and watch it when it aired at midnight again. When the episodes were new, I would watch them twice in the same night. I couldn't get enough.
Man,
See,
I
I
didn't want
like
to watch
it
it
because
because
I
I
think
thought it
when
was
the
a
new
stereotype of Italians.
Sorry, Fred, go ahead.
when the new episode came out, if I remember correctly, like it was maybe at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Well, from 8 to 9, they would play the previous week's
Mm.
episode. So I would always look at the previous week's episode a second time and then watch the new episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
man.
I'll give
The
you
days
that.
when The
It's a
Sopranos
really
was
good
on
show, man.
TV, man, that was classic TV. Did not get better than that. I still watch The Sopranos to this day. I don't know how many times I've seen the episodes, but by the amount of quotes that I can rattle off, you could tell a lot. I've
Give me
seen
a good Paulie
The
quote. Let me
Sopranos
hear a good
a
Paulie
lot.
one.
Huh?
Let me hear the Paulie. Give me something Paulie. Paulie with the funniest is Paulie with the psychic there. That was the best.
This is black magic. Sick shit. And he throws the chair at the ghost. Fucking quiz! Tremendous. Oh, Paulie. Paulie's the best. Oh, that's one of my favorite Paulie
With
lines.
those fingers, man. Remember with his fingers.
I like when he go. Yeah, those rolls belong to my ma. Hey, wrap up these rolls. Cellophane.
Did you know that he was in the Goodfellas?
Yeah.
Did you know Paulie was in the Goodfellas, but he had like a no role, like he was just like an extra in the back kind of thing.
My favorite Paulie scene, I think, is when he's in Feech Lamana's bakery and he's getting mad at Feech Lamana because he messes with Sal Vitro, the landscaper, the gardener guy, and Feech's nephew takes over the thing, and he's like, "Yeah, it's my nephew's business." Da da da, and then Paulie's like, Feach says something about, I was in the can, da-da-da. And Paulie's like, in my book, you get points for staying out of the can. And then Feach goes, well, good thing that your book doesn't mean Ugats to me. And I'm like, oh, shit, Ugats.
If you go on IMDb, the highest rated episode of The Sopranos, it's the one where, they try to kill the Russian there in the woods.
Pine Barrens. Pine Barrens.
Exactly. That's the highest rated episode, and that's just hilarious also.
Oh, it's a good one. Mix it with the mustard. They got the ketchup and the mustard. It's better. Mix it with the relish. I think it's relish he's got. Relish? Maybe?
Yeah. You had Tic Tacs and didn't share them.
Oh, what the fuck, Paulie? You had Tic Tacs.
They're gone.
Yeah. He was an interior decorator. His house looked like shit. Fucking yeah, he was in the interior ministry. He killed 15 Chechen rebels. And then he gets off the phone. He was an interior decorator. He killed 15 Czechoslovakians. His house looked like shit. Fucking crazy. Oh, Paulie is the best. Paulie and Chrissy. All right, let's get to some fights. What are we doing?
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to Paulie.
It's a shitty card. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, it's a garbage card.
Yeah. What do you know? It's Brazil, man.
Nice main
Chicken
event,
hearts.
but
Main event was supposed to be Curtis Blades. Derrick Lewis took this fight on short notice. I don't think that bodes well for him. Jailton Almeida has been smashing people left and right. 32 years old. He finished Jairzinho Rosenstrike in the first round with a rear naked choke last time out. He is undefeated so far in the UFC. He looks like a serious threat, guys. He has not lost an MMA fight since 2018. He's on quite a win streak. He's a solid grappler, a heavy puncher, quite an athlete. He's the main event in his home country of Brazil. I don't think this is a great fight for Derrick Lewis, taking it on short notice. He looked great against Marcos Rogerio de Lima in his last fight, but before that, he had lost 3 in a row in 4 of his last 5. So I don't know if Derrick Lewis is still at the top of his game like he was. He did look great last time out, though. He really did. And it seems like he's taken his training a little bit more seriously these days. He's talking about doing a lot more in the gym and road work and all sorts of stuff. So I think Lewis is still improving. I think, there was a point where Derrick Lewis wasn't training too hard but was still doing well, so he kept that going. But he went on the losing skid, and he kind of picked up his MMA training, and I think, he's a better version, and he's dangerous. But I think Almeida pulls it off. I think this is his fight to win. Derrick Lewis didn't get a full training camp here. I think that's a major sticking point for me. I think if Derrick Lewis gets a full training camp, doesn't take this fight on short notice, and it's in the United States, it's a much easier road for him. But because it's in Brazil, because he's taking it on short notice, and because he's 38 years old and maybe, he's seen better days, I feel like this is Almeida's time. I've got Jailton Almeida.
5-rounder?
Yeah, it's a 5-rounder, which I don't think bodes well for Lewis either.
Yeah. He's 38 years old, man. It's gonna be rough, going into Brazil too. Look, he looked in great shape in his last fight. He looked sharp, man. He won in great fashion. But the thing is he's going up against Jailton here, man. Jailton is a beast, man. He's finished 19 opponents. The guy is like ridiculous in his grappling game, black belt in jiu-jitsu. If anything happens out of this fight, man, the edge is going more of a submission win. Mind you, I think Lewis has only been submitted twice in his career. But, Jailton has only been finished once. And the rest of that was early in his career. But let me tell you, man, this guy's a beast, man. 19-2, he's 6-0 in the UFC, man. He'll be a little smaller than Derrick Lewis. I mean, that's the thing with Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis always has that punch. If you can avoid that heavy punch, he doesn't have anything else. You know how to beat Lewis, man. There's ways to beat Lewis. With Jailton, man, it's going to be hard to beat this guy. And really it's going to come down to I think he might end up winning by submission.
You see, Lewis, he doesn't have much grappling, but he's still hard to submit. As you said, he's been submitted only twice. And
Yep.
I recently saw this video where they go like Derrick Lewis is the guy that's there to make jiu-jitsu look bad or whatever. I forget the title because he gets out of these awful positions just because he's a physical freak and he's a little bit bigger. So maybe that's gonna be a problem. But yeah, Jailton with a full camp, I expect him to win. I would go probably submission or TKO because the odds seem to think that this fight is not going to decision. I think it's minus 325 for under a round and a half or something like that. So this fight is not looking like it's going to go the whole way, and Jailton probably wins it. With that said, I don't like his odd, man. Minus 450. That's a big underdog, like a big favorite. So I'm not gonna put him on my parlay, but I expect him to win.
Okay. Well, like you said, this card is not great. So let's jump right into the parlays because honestly, there is not much here to break down. I'm going to give you a parlay. It's a 2-fight parlay. It's a Team Dave parlay this weekend. It's pretty simple. I'm going with Jailton Almeida because I believe in him in a major way to win.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm also going with Caio Borralho.
Caio, yes, big time.
Who's been looking really good as of late. And he takes on Abus Magomedov, right? Abus Supian. They call him Abus. And Caio is a big favorite, minus 290. He was a little bit lower. I think it was like minus 260 the other day. Minus 290 now. Heavier favorite. Money's going on Caio to win. Might want to jump on it now. Team Dave parlay right now sitting at minus 155.20 gets you 32.87. It's not a huge payout. It was actually bigger a couple days ago. I got a call. I was talking to my friends at Bet99 and I gave them this parlay and it was 152 a couple days ago. Now it's 155. So it's not as good. But hopefully they can boost the odds for us this weekend. So stay tuned to bet99.ringsidereport.net. Try them Saturday morning before the fights if you want to drop some money down. And hopefully they'll get boosted odds for my parlay, but I'm not 100%. I haven't got confirmation from them. Either way, this is a pretty solid parlay. It's not a huge return, but I think these fights win, and you make more money than you had. Jailton Almeida, Caio Borralho. That's my Team Dave parlay for this weekend. It's pretty conservative for a parlay, but it's I think it's the best bets that I have on this card. I really don't have much else for you, unfortunately. It's not a very hot card as far as gambling goes. Fred, you got a parlay?
Yeah. I'm going to go with Caio also.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to parlay him with Rodrigo Nascimento over Dontel Mays. Nascimento has a win over Mays in the past, and I feel he's in Brazil. He's going to win. That's my parlay. Caio and Rodrigo.
Nice. It's another 2-fight parlay, plus 109. That's a good parlay right there. So here it is. Let's see if I can give it to you. There we go. It's Nascimento, minus 180 the favorite. Caio Borralho, minus 290. It's a 2-fight parlay for Team Fred that pays plus 109. 20 gets you 41.84 over at bet99.ringsidereport.net. So that's good.
Nice
plus 109,
that's
a Team Fred parlay. Nascimento and Borralho in Sao Paulo, Brazil. AJ, you're on the clock.
Yep. I'm on the clock, man. There's going to be a lot of submissions in this card. I'm pretty confident. And the names that you mentioned will probably do it. So I'm going to go off with Almeida as well, man. I think Almeida is going to be able to manhandle Derrick Lewis. I think he'll be able to stop him and probably submit him. But I'm going to go with the straight win here with Almeida. Then I'm going to go with Gabriel Bonfim, man. Don't fool around with this guy. This guy is a hot guy, man. And
he's a hot guy.
I think he's a hot guy, man, in many ways than one. So go with Gabriel Bonfim for the win. Then I'm going with Freddy's, man. I think Rodrigo Nascimento is going to be able to, end Dontel's, night. And then I'm going to go with Caio, another man, that guy is something, eh? Like, this kid is like, man, he's scary. He's a big favorite. I really like this guy, man. There's something about him that like I'm like this guy could be a contender. He wins, man, and he's just moving forward. So I'm going with, even though there's a Magomedov who's from probably Dagestan. I usually don't go against Dagestanians, but
He's from Germany.
Kyle,
He fights out of
he's
Germany,
from Germany.
so
Oh yeah,
doesn't count.
that's right. I remember it was something. Okay, so it doesn't count. Yeah. So no, I'm still with the Dagestanians. So Kyle for the win, and then I'm going to go with, this is going to be a tough one. You got Armin Petrosian against Rodolfo Vieira. Man, Rodolfo Vieira, man, this guy is something. If anybody's going to win by submission, you're looking right there. If Petrosian, he needs to keep it standing. If he doesn't get it, if he doesn't keep it standing,
I
and
like
it ends up on the
Petrosian.
ground. I like
Almost
Petrosian too. But going up
Like, I
against
think
Rodolfo Vieira,
Petrosian
who has
might be the one to beat a Brazilian this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's gonna happen against Rodolfo, man. Rodolfo, like, man, just world champion, jiu-jitsu master, a very good record in the UFC. Man, he can strike just as much. I mean, he could go back and forth with Petrosian. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna end up on the ground, and it'll probably be a submission win. So that's how I'm ending my card with Rodolfo Vieira. I was gonna go with Ismael Bonfim, which I think has a pretty good chance to beat Vince Pichel, but let's leave it there, man.
Do you think he's hot too? Because you said his brother Gabriel is hot. Do you think Ismael Bonfim is also hot, or you just have the hots for Gabriel?
Just for Gabriel, bud.
Okay, nice. Keeping it sexy. There's AJ's parlay. It's a 5-fight parlay. He's going with Jailton Almeida, Gabriel Bonfim, the hot man, the hot boy, Gabriel. Ooh. Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira, Caio Borraio, and Rodolfo Vieira in a pick'em fight against Armin Petrosian, minus 110 on either side on that one. It's a big 5-fight parlay, $20 at plus 477 gets you 115.37 return over at bet99.com. That is a nice parlay. And you know what? I don't disagree with any of those fights, really. I think the Petrosian fight is tough, and I would not bet on it. But the other ones, I got Borraio on my parlay. Half your parlay is my parlay, right? I got Jailton and Borraio. Fred's got Rodrigo Nascimento. I think he wins too. Bonfim is a huge, favorite. I think he probably wins. So I like your parlay, AJ. I like my parlay. I like Fred's parlay. We're basically all in agreement on all the fights. We're looking good. We're looking good for this weekend over at bet99.ringsidereport.net. Cash in. Cash out. Let's go. We're doing well these days, guys. We're doing real well. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I hope our friends at bet99.com aren't too mad at us,
What? Yeah. Sorry, guys. Listen, the rest of the guys that, I don't want to say any names.
Man, that Tyson Fury plus 500 last week that I gave, man. I know you disagreed with it, whatever, but Tyson Fury by decision plus 500,
you're right.
It cashed in.
It cashed in, man. If anybody took that, it was good money to make. No doubt about it, man. You called it, and it was there.
That's
a lot of people
$100 on $20, right?
Listen, a lot of people didn't think it was going to go the distance. They thought it was going to end in the first couple of rounds. The first 3 rounds, it was going to be over. And if it was going to go the distances, somebody was going to get knocked out, and it was supposed to be Ngannou. But for a decision, man, that was a great payout. You called it. It did come out. I wasn't happy about the result. But listen, if anybody went with your pick, it was a good Saturday night, man.
There you go.
Or a good Saturday afternoon here in Montreal anyways.
And that's what we're talking about, man. We're just trying to cash in. We're just trying to give winners.
Listen, man, lately we've been slamming them. Freddie's been on a roll. I've hit a couple of 5-fight parlays, man.
Yeah.
So
we've done well.
We've been making money for people,
Yeah. And we'll continue to do well. And I've got a big weekend here coming up on the Ringside Report Network. I'll be back here tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right after SmackDown with Johnny North. We'll be previewing WWE's Crown Jewel. We're back in Saudi Arabia this weekend. We were in Saudi for Francis and Fury. We're back in Saudi for Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, taking on L.A. Knight. Yeah! Whose game is it? Fred, you like L.A. Knight? Have you seen L.A. Knight? Are you on the train of L.A. Knight? Yeah!
I only watch pay-per-views, so that's the only thing I saw of L.A. Knight. But yeah, I see people like him, but he seems like a cheap Steve Austin imitation. I don't know.
No. There's more. There's more to him.
He has a lot of the mannerism of Steve Austin. Get your own personality, bro.
He's got his own personality. There's a part of Stone Cold in him. There's
Tribal
definitely
Chief.
some Stone Cold, but Tribal Chief, yeah, I think he'll win. I think Roman will definitely win.
What time is that?
It's 1
Saturday
p.m.
afternoon.
1 p.m.
All right.
start time Saturday afternoon, and we'll be on right afterwards to recap it all. We will be on right after Crown Jewel to review the whole show. Saturday afternoon here on the Ringside Report Network. Looking forward to it. And
What else,
I want to
man?
give a quick shout out to Yankees ace Garrett Cole, who won the American League Outstanding Pitcher of the Year as voted by his peers.
I thought you were going to say something else.
Congratulations to the 2023 American League Outstanding Pitcher Garrett Cole from the Yankees,
Forget it,
who's
man.
going to win the Cy Young
Congratulations.
too. He's also going to win the Cy Young. I don't know what you guys are saying.
It's not the same. I thought
Congratulations.
it was the Cy Young.
No, it's not the Cy Young. This is voted by the peers. I think the Cy Young is voted by
Forget
the
about that
media.
stuff, man. Recognize the world champions, man. The Texas Rangers, man. You got to give like a thumbs up to the Texas Rangers winning the World Series, man. First ever. What a great game, man. It was so exciting, man. Damn,
the Baseball Writers Association, they vote on the Cy Young. The outstanding pitcher is voted by the players. Garrett Cole's going to win both because he was the best in the American League.
What did Agile just say? No. Oh, man, that sucks.
Saudi Arabia is getting the 2034 World Cup. Are they really?
Man, what's the times for the games going to be?
2034. They've already announced that? Saudi Arabia.
I don't think that's official.
No? I think it is.
Agile's always on the ball, man.
Because usually they have like a big show to announce the next World Cup. Maybe.
Wikipedia says, yes, 2030 is in Morocco, Portugal, and Spain?
Yeah.
Why?
Portugal. Wow. Want to see
2026 will be Canada, Mexico, United States, but not here, not in. It is official for Saudi, apparently. Yeah. Yeah, they're not doing soccer matches in Montreal because I think the mayor said no, thank you for some reason.
She blew it, man. She's like honestly, man, how stupid can you be? Like honestly, man.
Yeah, she's awful. She is terrible.
Like the people forget the Montreal Manic was here in Montreal, man. We know Pele used to come here, man. Like you know, we have like I'm so upset.
I was gonna say something wrong, but yeah, Saudi Arabia seems to have won the bid on October 31st. I didn't see it pass, but
no,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I know I was talking about cones and all that stuff. But I have noticed a serious decline in the city, just the overall look of the city in the past few years since she's been mayor. And it's kind of like, oh, yeah, I don't think she's doing a great job. The city seems to have kind of gone a little – it looks kind of grimier than it used to. It's filthy. It's not as nice as it was.
Crime rate is up, man. Man, it's like – and I love Montreal, man.
Oh, apparently it was the provincial government that didn't want to renovate the Olympic Stadium. I don't know what they're going to do with that.
But what you got to renovate, man? You got to play it outside,
every
man.
fucking level of government that we have to deal with here is horrible. They're all bad.
Saputo Stadium. Oh,
yeah, that's way too small for World Cup.
Yeah,
it would have to
is,
be in the Olympic
the
Stadium.
I know, man, but at that point, they're getting like these a country that most people wouldn't go see, and you put them in the Saputo Stadium, man. Like you still get like the whatever. How much does it fit? 24. How many fans can you fit?
It's never gonna happen. Forget it. It's over. Anyways, it's over. It's done with.
Plus, we're sharing with the U.S. They're getting and Mexico. The U.S. are getting all the major matches. Like we're just getting a couple of matches, man.
Hang on. Could I go see a France game in like New York or something? Like, is that going to be a thing?
If it happens, yeah.
It depends what group they're going to be drawn in because groups is what decides where they're going to play.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
You're saying I could go see a France World Cup match in like the United States? I wouldn't have to go to like a weird country. I could go somewhere where I'm comfortable, where they have legal weed even. What?
Listen, man, I did it. I did it a long time ago. I went to go see the World Cup qualifiers. I saw Italy versus Portugal in Boston, man.
That's cool.
I went with my dad and a whole bunch of people here from Montreal. We went down. It was a tie between Italy and
Portugal.
Portugal.
But like an actual World Cup game. Wouldn't that be crazy to see a World Cup game?
Well, man.
Games in Mexico too. Like I'm not going to Mexico, But if they're in the
Well, we
States
could.
and they're like not, I don't know where the American games are going to be.
Listen, I'm sure there's going to be in Boston. I'm sure New York,
If
Los
France
Angeles, like
is playing
for sure.
within driving distance, I will have to go. That would be crazy.
Yeah, I'd like to go see them. Like I like to see them lose, but like I like to see against Italy if they can actually make it. Because right now Italy is like on the edge
I'll tell you
again,
what.
which
If France
is pissing
plays
me
Italy
off.
in the World Cup and it's in the U.S., we're going. You and me.
Okay, we're doing it. Freddie's
Who's
coming
paying?
too, man.
AJ.
Freddie.
Who's paying?
I don't know.
'Cause those tickets are going to be a fortune.
Fred, 2026,
imagine?
okay? We'll be rich by then. That's like 3 years away.
Yeah.
We'll for sure be rich. We must be rich by
Italy
then,
and
right?
New York, all of AJ's long cousins, faraway
Yeah, I
cousins
know.
are going to be there.
Or we can
That's
get like
why
the
I want to
ringside
see
net-
France play
the
like
ringside
Tunisia in a
universe
group
go
stage,
down.
you know, like make it cheap and easy. Give me a game, go to Boston, see France play like Romania where no one will care. Give me that.
Ooh, I don't know, man. You'll have some like Romanians that are going to be not too happy with you right now. But you're right. Yeah, it
Well,
has
I'm
to be
saying
it has to
it's
be
not
like-
like a
so
big
let
team.
down.
It's not Italy or, Come on. Huh? All right. That's it.
Listen,
I'll be
man,
back tomorrow
it's-
night. Thank you, everybody. That's it. We're not talking about soccer anymore. What the hell is this? I'll be back tomorrow to talk about wrestling, and then I'll be back again on Saturday after WWE Crown Jewel right here on the Ringside Report Network.